morning. Welcome back to the morning edition, I-24 News, the place you should be on this.
February 23rd.
Thank you for saying February. I was about to say January, which is sad and pathetic. But great to be back.
Yeah.
Exactly. Tony Grant with us in studio for all the news you missed while scanning the headlines.
Well, you wouldn't have missed this one if you were in Israel or even outside, kind of capturing international attention.
You did, right?
Sort of the hero mayor of Jerusalem, we can say, Nir Barkat, who, this is not exactly great publicity for the city of Jerusalem, but it's good for him, because the mayor actually interceded and helped thwart what could have been a very bad terrorist attack, but it turned out to be a minor one.
I think we have footage of that, don't we? I mean, that's
just happened to be driving by when this incident, I shouldn't make light of it, was some guy was getting stabbed, so this is serious stuff. His security detail jumped right in, literally.
Including the mayor.
Including the mayor, and there you can see it.
I mean, listen, it's an amazing incident. Supposedly it's a young Palestinian youth who, was trying to stab an Israeli resident.
An ultra-Orthodox resident of Jerusalem.
But the fact that the mayor jumps out, what better campaign slogan for his next term as Jerusalem mayor?
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
So we have
I jump right in there.
I'm there to protect you, literally. Moav Vardi, diplomatic correspondent of Channel 10 with us. He's got a second term there in Jerusalem, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's got a second term. By the way, rumor has it that he wants to be, or he got even some kind of promise from Prime Minister Netanyahu that he's going to be the minister for Jerusalem affair in the next government to be established.
You just nailed that one, didn't you?
Yeah.
Lock that in.
Lock that one in. Check.
By the way, he didn't jump. He just said.
He arrived.
Hey, not make it up. He arrived.
Yeah.
He took the selfie.
Yeah.
Yes, and
speaking of politicians that don't exactly have things nailed down but are trying to, Hillary Clinton. The Washington Post asks, is Hillary a Big Mac or a Chipotle burrito? Now, that was... Now, they're being figurative. She's hired a lot of consultants to kind of reshape her brand image. Does she want to go upscale? Does she want to go more working class? It's something that as we get kind of Obama fatigue in many quarters, a lot of interest in what Hillary's up to. So,
well, I think it's becoming fairly clear, and to us Americans around this table, I think, Tony, it's becoming fairly clear that it's going to be down to Jeb and Hillary, isn't it?
I think it's looking a lot like that. Yeah, a lot like that.
So maybe she's the Big Mac and he's the Chipotle.
It's one great buffet
of this.
God knows what. Speaking of God and religion, Reuters has this great picture of Norwegian Muslims forming a protective ring around the synagogue in Oslo over the weekend.
That's an amazing visual.
Yeah, it really is. And of course, it's kind of a response to what happened in Denmark, and you could say to other things going on, unfortunately, in Europe. Very interesting to see this development.
It's beautiful to see, as banal as it may sound, an interfaith moment as such.
Yeah.
When all these horrific, attacks are happening in and around Europe and around the world.
And it's sort of like the silent majority starting to be a little bit less silent. So it's as you said, it's great to see.
Yes.
From Libération, French newspaper, a headline which seems sort of like a no-brainer, which says Syria, source of regional chaos, as if we didn't know that. But interesting is that they show this picture of activists, I believe, outside of, I don't want to say, somewhere in Syria, protesting the Syrian civil war. And it's evocative of the ISIS burning of the Jordanian pilot. Very evocative. And also, the article mentions that for the first time, Iranian schools are opening up in Damascus, which is a bit of an alarming trend to some. It says that the Islamic State is starting to implant cells in the Lebanese cities of Tripoli and Saida. So again, it's listing all these problems that are coming from Syria, which are not getting so much play at the moment.
Whatever's left of Syria.
Whatever's left of Syria. Which brings us to the next picture and story that we talked about before, the Turkish incursion across the border into Syria. The Guardian runs this fascinating picture. Now,
hello,
Iwo Jima. Yeah, talk about symbolism. It is. It's pretty dramatic. If you like red, it's even more dramatic. But
not only that. Listen, we were just discussing the first half hour of the show that the operation itself, at the end of the day, many say that the Turkish soldiers around the tomb weren't in that much danger, but the operation itself was a show of force because it was a reconnaissance mission. There were drones and whatnot. It was
complex
a show of like
mission.
We're here. If you mess with us, this is what we can do.
Right.
Yeah.
And interesting, you see, as far as the semi-official Iranian news agency has a reaction, which is basically Iran deplores Turkey's incursion in northern Syria's unjustifiable, and you have to kind of shake your head because, you know, recently Iran has pretty much openly said that they are operating in Syria, you know, in various theaters, areas, so to speak. So again, it just goes to show what's left of Syria and different. Now you've got Turkey jumping into the fray, which is not going to exactly, you know,
the chessboard that's moving the boundaries and the borders.
And
yes.
Speaking of Turkey, men in miniskirts are showing their support for a very sad victim of a Turkish rape and subsequent homicide, which happened recently. And a lot of backlash against this. In Azerbaijan and Turkey, men have been donning skirts and sort of tweeting their social media support of this cause. And it's sort of a step in the direction of saying, hey, there's a problem with sexual violence in this country, in Turkey specifically. And it's kind of interesting to see it in the Turkish media.
It's nice that it's coming from, you know, I have to say that it's coming from men as a type of, you know, of reaction to horrific crimes as such.
Yeah, so nice to see that. Also, I want to mention a story. Actually, this happened on Friday. International Business Times reports that the French Interior Minister Bernard Cazeneuve made a one-day trip to San Francisco. That's a long way to go for one day.
Yeah.
But he was going to meet with people from execs from Google, Facebook, and Twitter to fight online extremism, to ask them to take down material that is being used for terrorist purposes from these social media powerhouses.
Right.
And it goes to show how important this is in France's battle against jihadism, if you will. I mean, it's, again...
And I think also the fact that he's traveling to them rather than they come to him.
Exactly, how the world is
turned. Who exactly, holds the cards to anything.
And, you know, they haven't exactly, Google and Facebook, they're working, they say they're doing their part, but I think that this feeling is, the French feeling is they could do more. You know, pull a few plugs, I don't know, but interesting to see.
Yeah.
Today is a deadline for Greece to agree on a list of economic reforms ahead of this extension deal they have. In the meantime, Greeks are stashing their cash, just in case. And again, this is something that we're watching kind of day by day. What happens
very close,
here?
And it's not looking good for. I mean, I don't want to say it's not, you know, good, but it looks like it's a standoff that's about to explode in many ways.
It's something that's very tense, and you know, of course, Germany has the upper hand, and the Eurozone countries are watching this with bated breath.
With bated breath.
It's time for one more in Nigeria.
Yes.
Boko Haram as it's growing stronger. Difficult picture to see, but Nigeria prepares for a vote. There's a woman whose daughter was one of the girls kidnapped 10 months ago. Bears mentioning that only 57 of those 276 girls have actually escaped. This is, of course, going to be one of the deciding and defining issues in the election campaign. No, very important to mention,
because I think we talk so much about ISIS, we forget that there's another, you know,
this is their cousin, so to speak.
Exactly, you know, a very close one at that, sadly. Tony, thank you so much, Locke, with us in studio, as always, as we move along.